Like with most years, 2023 has certainly been a mixed bag when it comes to films. We've had some really great ones, we've had some really crap ones, but in this video we're going through my top 5 best of the year. Before we begin, I have a few honourable mentions, with the first one being Air, which came out quite early on in the year, which was a film about a bloody shoe, but it was really intriguing, involving Matt Damon, Ben Affleck and Jason Bateman, and yeah, it was just a really fun watch, and I was really surprised I enjoyed it so much considering the subject matter. My next honourable mention is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which like the first film was very enjoyable. Now this is a part 1 of a two-parter. When we're going to get that second part, I'm not so sure, but in this one, the animation again is just so amazing to watch. And in terms of this year, it is the best animated film, though I haven't yet seen The Boy and the Heron, so once I see that, maybe my opinion will change. And my last honourable mention is The Curator, which I think just on its appearance alone looks amazing. I mean, I'm so happy to see they filmed on location because it really does make a difference. I think in terms of its story and everything else, it's not a flawless film, but it's an original film and I just enjoyed entering this world. I think, yeah, there's many areas it could have improved, but it was still a good experience at the cinema. So with them out the way, let's get into the top 5. And in 5th place, we have Killers of the Flower Moon. One of the big talking points about this film was the runtime. It was 3.5 hours long. You do feel that runtime, there's no doubt about that, but you're enjoying what you're watching. This is great content. It's a Martin Scorsese film with De Niro, with DiCaprio, and they're telling a really good story. Lily Gladstone was also a standout in this film, and as it's based on a non-fiction book, you do want to go and find out more about this subject. And I think as a film for Scorsese, it may not be his best film, but it is a really important one to watch and one which was thoroughly enjoyable. Moving into number 4 now, we have Anatomy of a Fall. Now, unlike every other film in this video, I haven't reviewed Anatomy of a Fall, but this movie is certainly one of the best of the year because it is so real. You feel like you're a fly on the wall watching what's happening. You're intrigued to see how it's going to resolve itself. You feel also a bit like someone as part of the jury. You're trying to get all the details, understand what's actually happened here. And Sandra Hüller, my goodness, she puts in a fantastic performance, and I think the best performance from an actress all year. Now, I haven't seen Poor Things yet with Emma Stone, so that could maybe change things, or maybe some other films yet, but with this performance I think she is a standout amongst the rest, and I think hopefully she does, if she is the best, get some recognition from the Oscars and all the other main awards ceremonies and that. So I do think with this film it is one which, if you do like a mystery, but it's not one way you're going to be like, oh, there's those different crazy twists happening, but one way you're just really intrigued and you're trying to, you're second guessing yourself in your brain, and I think with this film it is definitely going to be one which will be perfect for you. So going into the top 3 now, in 3rd place we have Godzilla Minus One. Now with this film, it was one of the last ones to be released this year, and what a surprise it had for us, because I was not expecting to watch a Godzilla film this year which really floored me as much as this one. Like, I was watching it, I thought, wow, this is pretty good. We've got a lot of characters here which we actually care about. The Godzilla stuff's really good, and it just kept going. I was like, this is just a really consistently great film where you're involved emotionally. You actually want to see these characters succeed. You don't want them to be stamped on by Godzilla this time. And Godzilla was very threatening. It was very sort of, no shit's taken. Just goes for it, takes down these people. Really does look like a weapon of mass destruction. And yeah, I think in terms of a Godzilla film, I don't know how they're going to beat this, because this is one of the best films I've seen in terms of a Godzilla film, but also just a monster film in general. And I said in my review that this film really energized me, and I'm still feeling that right now just talking about it, because I'd happily go and watch this again and again. And unlike some of the other films I mentioned so far, this is one which really does have that rewatchability factor to it, where you'd happily go and watch it with another mate and watch it when it comes back onto streaming or on Blu-ray or whatever, because it's just such an enjoyable experience, and one where you walk out the cinema thinking, yeah, you know what, I've really got my money's worth here. So entering the top 2 now, and in 2nd place we have a movie called Past Lives. Now in terms of this film, I think it does require some patience from the viewer, but if you do let yourself get invested into it, I think you will connect with it in a great manner. And I think also it really affects you emotionally more than you'd expect, because this is a romance movie, but it is a romance film that goes in a slightly different direction than you'd expect. And it tells its story so well that you are just connecting with these characters that feel so real, and you can also reflect on yourself, because we all have a past life of some sort. Considering the content in this film, where we're seeing two people reconnecting their adult lives and doing things like Skype calls together, that could have got quite boring after a while, but it's thanks to Celine Song and how well she expertly crafts this film that you really get involved with these individuals. And in the same way as Anatomy of a Fall, you feel like you're watching real people, and there's no need for any Hollywood twists or anything like that because there's a trust that the audience will be mature enough to be able to follow along regardless. And so that brings us to number 1, the best film of 2023. It is Oppenheimer. In the last few years, we've had films from Christopher Nolan like Dunkirk and Tenet, which I think are good films, but with Oppenheimer, he really gets back to his best form. And I think he said himself, but for a historical biopic that's 3 hours long to get around $1 billion at the box office is pretty incredible. And in the future, when we look back on the year of 2023 in terms of movies, one of the first things that pop up will be Barbenheimer and how much of a success that was with those two films coming out on the same day, being so opposite to each other, but attracting the fans of both films to watch both of the films. It was a very much needed event for cinemas because they were still recovering from their post-COVID losses, but in terms of these two films, I did enjoy large portions of Barbie, but when we look at Oppenheimer, that's a film that really makes you understand why you love cinema so much, and I think for a lot of people coming back to the cinema, maybe for the first time since COVID, they understood that as well. After working with Christopher Nolan for many years and doing an amazing job in Peaky Blinders, Cillian Murphy really deserved that leading man role, and he took his opportunity so well that I think he deserves all those Best Actor awards he hopefully will get. Other cast members like Emily Blunt and Matt Damon were very good here, but I have to mention Robert Downey Jr. as Strauss because he was superb, and like Cillian Murphy, hopefully he gets some recognition in that Best Supporting Actor category. Also, I did rave about it in my review, but the score by Ludwig Göransson was fantastic. There's some songs here that I still listen to this day because they were so powerful and they really do match the scenes so perfectly. So yeah, Oppenheimer was a real treat to watch this year, especially on that big screen. And in terms of Christopher Nolan, if you hadn't already, he's certainly shown that he is one of the best working directors right now. So there's my picks for the top 5 films of 2023, but make sure to put yours in the comments below. I'll be very interested to see your choices. And also, I will be doing a top 5 worst films of the year and also a top 10 most anticipated films of 2024. In the meantime, on screen is a video that YouTube are recommending you. Thank you so much for the support on the channel this year, and I do wish you a lovely 2024.